Welcome back to the Primitive Camping and Bushcraft podcast. My name is Speir, and I am going to be your guide to enjoying the great outdoors. Today, we're going to talk about one of my favorite subjects, and it is food. And I tell you what, when I get out into the woods, there is nothing better than a campfire cooked meal. To me, I absolutely love a campfire cooked meal. I love making biscuits or bread in a campfire oven. I love scrambled eggs in the morning with, some sausage or something like that. We're going to get into all these things today, but we're still in the gear section of the book, Primitive Camping and Bushcraft. Go ahead, swing by, pick up a copy of that, follow along. We are on page 69. Today's episode is going to be a little short as far as the contents in the book, but I got some stuff spread out here on the table. If you're watching the video, I've got some stuff here I'm going to discuss, and also we're going to talk about it here on the podcast, and I'll do my best to describe what you are seeing vividly and visually. All right, so food equals calories, and calories equals energy. That's a basic scientific fact, unless they change that one too. But anyway, when it comes down to it, food equals calories. And, you cannot head out into the woods and, on a hiking trip or a hunting trip or, a kayaking trip or whatever. And if you don't have enough food or calories in your system, you are going to wear down quick. You're going to get tired easy. You're going to start off like I could take over the world. You're going to get 100,000 feet into it and you're going to be like, oh, I'm getting tired. You get like a mile down the road or down the trail or something like that. I love some coffee. But anyway, when you're camping, you expend tons and tons of calories that you otherwise would not do in your daily life. And it's pretty simple because you're doing more when you're out in the woods than you would at your regular daily activities. If you got an office job, you're sitting behind a desk and you're typing away at the computer all day, you're not expending a lot of calories, and you're not using all the calories that you take over a day. That way you become a calorie surplus, and a calorie surplus is where you start putting on weight. That's where your body starts taking the calories and turning them into fat and turns into fat stores. And it's the opposite is true whenever they have what they call a negative calorie intake. You're in a calorie deficit. And everybody knows that if you go work out and you limit yourself to the input or intake of calories, you become in a calorie deficit. And so then your body starts burning the fat by turning the fat into energy. So that's what the fat stores are for, is to save up energy for whenever you need it. That's why TV shows like Alone, if you notice on these shows, like they will go out and these dudes, when you first see them, they're like, man, he's a big fella. Well, they put on all this weight in order to go out that way because they knew that they were not going to have the caloric intake that they normally would. And so they're relying on their fat stores in between meals. So when you're heading out to the outdoors, you're going to plan how many days you're going to be gone and how much food you're going to need. So this is easy. If you're going to be gone for 6 days and you say you're eating 1 to 2 meals a day, if that. And me, typically, I eat a 1 meal. I'm a 1 meal a day guy, and I'll head out into the woods with my 1 meal a day. But when you get out there and you're expending a lot of calories and you're doing a lot more strenuous work, you're going to need more than just 1 meal a day. I've gone for 6 days and I've had 1 meal a day, and I come back and I was 10 to 12 pounds lighter than I was when I left. And that's just because I put myself into a calorie deficit whenever I went out into the woods. I started burning a lot of energy while you're out there because you're going to be doing all kinds of stuff. You're going to be fishing. You're going to be walking. You're going to be hiking. You're going to be carrying heavy loads. You're going to be, it's going to be hotter or colder or whatever. You're putting your body into a position where you're burning more energy. So what I do to plan is I carry a limited quantity of food and I supplement it with hunting or fishing. And I outlined this on page 72, which is a couple of pages ahead of where we're at. I bring some fish hooks to go fishing, stuff like that. A lot of times if I'm going out into the woods, I have a fishing pole with me. I know I'm going fishing. I know beyond a shadow of doubt I'm going fishing. If it's hunting season, I know I'm going hunting. And so, outdoor stores have many varieties of freeze-dried foods and different other stuff for you to take, like even Walmart. You can go into Walmart and you can get some of these freeze-dried foods. But let's back up where I was talking about fishing. I like to supplement my food with what I'm catching or fishing for out there, like fish, squirrel, rabbit, raccoon, you name it, whatever. I like to actually supplement what I am going to eat. All right. So now fast forward, you can get different foods for different types in the stores. You can get them from Walmart. You can get them from, believe it or not, Dollar Tree has freeze-dried foods there that you can put together. You're not going to make a complete meal out of one little package, but you're going to have to buy several packages to put together. They have freeze-dried items. Usually with the Dollar Tree stuff, it's going to be more like dessert type items like berries and, of the such. How long do you plan on being out there? And what kind of food do you want to take? And so what I did is I'm not going to give you a full grocery list of things to take today, and we're not going to do that here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a couple of items of food for thought items that a lot of people don't think about. I'll give you that at the end of this episode. But, in the meantime, let's go over some of the things. If you're watching the video, I have some things listed out here on the table, and we're going to go over these. And I'm going to just give you some ideas and some foods for thought. No pun intended with the foods part. So first up is going to be canned meats. Now, everybody knows that canned meats and canned foods is going to weigh a lot. So if you're having some kind of conveyance out to the woods, like a boat or ATV or horseback or, something to that effect, then it's going to be easier for you to have canned meats with you or to bring canned foods with you. And the reason why is because you don't have to carry it the whole way. All right. So, but canned meats, and this is one of my favorites, Spam. Spam in a can is one of my all-time favorites. You can use it for so many different things. And if you notice here on the table, I also have a pack of dried beans. Now, we're going to get to these a little bit later. This is one of those multi-bean soup mixes. It's the ham-flavored stuff. It has the salt pack and the flavoring packs in there. So this is a very, very high-density, high-protein meal. Has a lot of dietary fiber in it. It has some sodium in it. It does not have any cholesterol, but this thing is amazing and will be a great pick-me-up when you get out into the woods. But what I jumped ahead for with that is because you can cube up the Spam and put in there with your beans, and you can actually add to it. Now, a 1 pound bag of beans in the woods is going to last you a long time. You can actually have 3 or 4 meals out of that 1 pound bag of beans. Now, the problem with that is the Spam, once you open it, you're on limited time frame. You're going to have to cook it. You cook it, it would last a day or so, depending on the temperature. But, pretty much after a day, I'm not going to eat this stuff, unless I boil it down and make sure all the bacteria and the bad bacteria and viruses or bad bacteria is gone. But this stuff right here is pretty much, it is finite. It is going to spoil. It is going to start decaying the moment you pop that seal. All right, but this stuff is good for you as far as it has a lot of fats in there, and you need a lot of fats when you're out into the woods because the fats convert into some energies, and your brain needs to have the fats to operate, stuff like that. So you have to have fat. Unlike what people think in today's society, oh, I'm on a fat-free diet. Good luck, because you have to have fats to survive. You have to. All right, so moving from there and canned meats, we also got like fish steaks. I love fish steaks, sardines, fish steaks, stuff like that to come in a can. These things are great little quick lunches. They're real great, real protein snacks. And you can actually cook some rice and put this fish over that rice and eat that way. And the rice are your carbs, and you got your protein, your carbohydrates right there. You're good to go. Now, I did not include any rice up here on this, on the table, but you got your instant rice, that minute rice, then all it is freeze-dried rice. You can bring some water to a boil, you throw your rice in there, cover it up, and 5 minutes later, you're good to go. Your rice is good. And, that stuff is lightweight. It's very easy to bring with you, and, to go with some kind of meat or some beans or something like that is like amazing stuff. So that's the canned meats. There's other canned meats out there, like Vienna sausages. You can get beanie weenies, and you can get different, devil's food, stuff like that. Different kinds of canned meats. There's, let's see, the corned beef and hash, corned beef. You get potted meats. You can get Vienna sausages. There's other meats out there, and you can have a canned meat with you. But the problem with canned stuff is that they take up a lot of, they not take up a lot of room. They weigh a lot. All right. So they're going to drag you down. When you got 5 or 6 of these cans right here, you have an extra 3 pounds on you. Cause this is this thing's heavy. Let's see how much it is. This is 12 ounces. So one thing of food is 12 ounces. That's like what, 4 ounces shy of a pound. And, that's crazy. It's 340 grams, net weight, 12 ounces. So you got 12 ounces right here, almost a pound. So if you got 4 of these, that's 4 pounds that you're carrying around in the woods. Let's look at this is 3.75 ounces. All right. So fish steaks are not as heavy as the Spam, but it's not as dense either. So, but these pack a lot of protein in them. Now, since we're talking about protein densities and stuff like that, let's move on over to this. Peanut butter. This little container of peanut butter right here is, let's see what the weight is. The net weight, this is 12 ounces. This weighs exactly the same as this. But with this right here, you're getting more bang for the buck. And the reason why is because this is, where'd it go? This is 180 calories per serving, and a serving is a 2-ounce slice. And this is 190 calories per tablespoon. All right. And this has 10 servings, and this has 6. So you're getting more out of this. Well, not only that, this has all your proteins. It has your 16 grams of fat. It has the sodium that you're going to need in there when you get out into the woods. You need the sodiums. They're finding out now that a lot of these issues with migraines and stuff like that is because people are not intaking enough salt. Fiber is 2 grams of fiber. It's got your carbohydrates, 6 grams of carbohydrates. It's got sugars, 3 grams of sugars, and 7 grams of protein. And so that is in 1 tablespoon, or 2 tablespoons. I'm sorry. Yeah, 2 tablespoons per serving. And so I got a real quick, down and dirty, real life scenario for this. So I was on a trip. And it's the same trip that we made the water filter with that I discussed last week in the last episode. And we were just running down, and we weren't catching any fish. We bought between 2 guys, we brought 1 pound of beans, a little bit of rice, and we got a summer sausage. And then I brought this, and I brought this same size jar of peanut butter. That's it. That's all the food we brought for a 6 or 8 day trip. And we get out there, and we didn't catch any fish. We weren't catching hardly any fish, and we didn't see no squirrels. We didn't see no raccoons. But we did end up harvesting a armadillo. So we ate the armadillo, no joke. But before we got the armadillo, we were running out. It was like day 3 or 4, something like that. And we were just like, no energy whatsoever, just down, and just expended so many calories fishing and hunting and walking back and forth, and collecting firewood and stuff like that. Plus, it was kind of warm during the daytime. It was in the high 80s, and at night it was in the 60s, so it was pretty decent camping weather. It was still warm in the daytime. But I had one of these that I brought with me, and I sat down and I took a spoonful, and immediately, I mean, immediately, I felt the difference. The moment I swallowed the first bite, and then I ate half of that jar, and a couple of minutes later I felt like a brand spanking new man. I didn't know if it was because of the sugars, because my body was used to taking all the sugars and all that stuff. I didn't know if it was the sugars or the proteins, the fats, the stuff like that I needed, but all the saturated fats and all that, but or the salts or whatever it was. But so I told my brother, I threw the rest of it to my brother, and he ate the other half of the can, and immediately he felt better too. And it was like, whoa, this is crazy. A jar of peanut butter goes a long way whenever you're out there. So ever since then, I've always carried 12 ounces of peanut butter in my food kit with me whenever I go out into the woods. And the reason why I do that is because in the event of you don't have any food, this will help you get by. This is an awesome food item, and it will actually help reinvigorate you and give you the energy and the stamina that you need to press on through whatever you're doing. All right, so let's talk about some excuse me, I got some nasal stuff going on today. I don't know if it's cold or not, but let's press on to, let's do some MREs. All right, let's talk about MREs. Now, MREs, these are great. If you were in the military, MREs were the staple, a military staple. And, this one's Mexican beef. My favorite was always the beef stew, and I loved the beef stew. It was just my favorite MRE. But right here in my hands, if you're not watching the video, I have a MRE, a Mexican beef MRE. Now, these have been known to produce over 2,000 calories of food if you eat everything in here. Now, that 2,000 calories also includes the hot sauces. It includes the creamers for your coffee, the drinks, the coffee. It includes everything in the kit. So in order to get the 2,000 plus calories, you have to eat everything in the kit. So, and it'll be labeled how much is what. Now, these are the MRE Star. These are not the true 100% military brand, but these are very close to it, extremely close to it. And I just recently did a video on a kayaking trip where we went down the river and we used these as a lunch, and then also did a review on these on my Speir Outdoors YouTube page. But MREs are great. They have all kinds of stuff, all kinds of goodies in there. Now, what I typically like to do is I'll bring one MRE and I'll use that as a lunch on the day I'm going out. That way, it gives me enough energy to get to the end of my hike or my boating trip or wherever I'm going. So I'll bring one MRE. I like the MRE because it comes in its own waterproof container. It is waterproof inside there. It's not going to get wet, so your contents ain't going to get ruined. And so in the event of you have a waterproof meal and you have one, so you have a couple thousand calories in there to get you through. Now, after that, then I'll bring other items. So we talked about the MRE. We talked about canned meats. Let's skip on over to the summer sausage. Now, I always typically bring a small summer sausage with me. And the reason why, this is 9 ounces, and they're only like a couple of bucks. You can get a summer sausage. And the reason why I like summer sausage is because you do not have to refrigerate these. Well, you can leave this dude in your backpack for a couple of years. Let's see, when does this one expire? I don't see the expiration date. Where is it? There it is, right down here. Used by August 20th, 2025. So I got a whole year's worth of use out of this. I've had it for a while. But these little dudes right here are amazing. You can use them in your dried beans. You can use them with your breakfast. You could cook them anytime. You can eat them by themselves as a snack, give you a little pickup, and they only weigh 9 ounces. And these go so far. And for 2 people, that is plenty right there for 2 people. Me and Dave on my kayaking trip recently, we used one of these, and both of us had that with some eggs for breakfast, and we were slam full. We was ready for the day, and it was good stuff. Summer sausage is great. I cannot harp on summer sausage enough. That if you're heading out into the woods, spend the $1.99 to get you a 9-ounce thing of summer sausage. You could cook it, you can eat it raw, you could boil it, you can add it to your meat. You could do so much with it. It's crazy. Now, we talked about the instant rice. Now let's move on to Just Add Water meals, or jaw meals, as it's called. Just Add Water is like the Idahoan potatoes. These have 120 calories in them. And these dudes right here have 10%, 2 grams of saturated fats. They got 3 grams of total fats. And you're going to need these fats when you get out into the woods. It's got 1 gram of sugars in there. So this is a lot of carbs. This is basically a 20-gram carbohydrate meal, but it'll give you some energy to push on through. And these things are awesome. And you could combine them with your meats. You got a canned meat. You could throw these canned meats like your Spam, like your summer sausage, like your fish steaks. You can eat that in conjunction with your baby red mashed potatoes. Now, these baby red mashed potatoes are Just Add Water. You bring some water to a bowl, you dump the potatoes in, and you stir them up, and you're ready to eat. That's it. And these are 97 cents at the local Dollar General, and are $1 at a Dollar Tree, I believe. If you can find these, you're not going to find, you'll get an off-brand, but these Idahoan baby reds are the best flavored fake potatoes or mashed potatoes. They are amazing. I love them. I can't say enough about them. I even buy them to eat here at the house for my family. These things are great, and they're lightweight. This whole package, the contents of this package is, let's see here, 4 ounces, and that is a whole meal. And, this is more than a meal, because right here it says it serves 4. So there's 4 servings in this bag. So literally, with a big old fatty like me, when I get out into the woods, I'm going to eat this whole bag. I will eat this whole bag. So typically, this 4 servings is going to be for one person when you're out in the woods. And but anyway, that's Just Add Water. Now, there's another one out there, prepackaged, ready-to-eat meals. And, that's what I talked about with the MREs. They're prepackaged, they're ready to eat, and they're good to go. So we got prepackaged, ready-to-eat meals. We got Just Add Water meals, and then packet mashed potatoes in here. So, Just Add Water. Let's do another one. Freeze-dried meals. This whole meal right here, and this is best if used by September of 2053. 2053. It's 20-some odd years. All right, so this whole meal right here is 3 ounces. All right, the only downside to this is how bulky it is. It's kind of like with your MRE. Your MRE weighs a couple pounds, but this breakfast skillet MRE by Mountain House, not MRE, but freeze-dried meal from Mountain House is kind of bulky. So the whole container has 512 calories, right? So it's got 26 grams of fat for the whole container. It's got 610 milligrams, or 203% of your cholesterol, your sodium, your carbohydrates, and your proteins, and it's got everything that you need. These meals right here are a whole meal and will sustain you in the woods when you get out there. So freeze-dried meals are amazing things. They're lightweight. You can carry several of them. The only problem is they're very bulky. And I'm more of a, the footprint for this right here is a lot smaller than several of these right here. But, you got your beans, and you got your mashed potatoes, and you got your beef summer sausage all piled up, and it's still smaller footprint than your freeze-dried breakfast skillet. But the other flip side to that is that the beans and the potatoes and that's going to weigh more. So it depends. When you're heading out into the great outdoors, you're going to do ease of use versus, it's kind of like when I was talking about stoves in the previous one, where you're using a wood burning stove, or are you using a propane stove, and it's just, it's not, it's the same kind of situation. So get some more coffee here. All right, now let's move on to a couple little things. Before you go over your full grocery list on page 182 of the book, you want to start thinking about what you'll bring versus how much it weighs. And that's always going to be on your mind whenever you're going to be hiking somewhere. Now, if you're using a boat to go down river and camp out, get dropped off, or you're taking an airplane, getting dropped off in the middle of that really don't matter too much, because, you're going to be able to carry more weight that way. But it's like you get dropped off and then you have to hike a couple of miles in there. It's still going to be a little bit cumbersome. But, a few options to consider are the heaviest to lightest. Canned meats are the heaviest. You got canned meats, summer sausages, but they don't require refrigerator. Dried beans, instant and regular rice, just add water meals, prepackaged or ready-to-eat meals, packet mashed potatoes, and freeze-dried foods. So that, what I just read there, was the heaviest to the lightest. So you want to use that as a guide to when you're going out into the woods and what you're going to bring with you and take with you. So now I'm going to move on. I promised you earlier that I was going to go over a couple of little things here to show you. Now, right here, what you see, if you're watching the video, I have a bottle of 5 fluid ounce bottle of Tabasco sauce, McKinley Company Tabasco pepper sauce. And the Tabasco sauce is amazing stuff to bring with you. Now, I don't bring them this big. I bring a smaller one with me. In MREs in the military, if anybody ever served in the military recently, the past 25, 30 years, you saw that they had the baby MRE Tabasco sauces in the MREs. These MREs right here by MRE Star do not have Tabasco sauces in them. So, but the old real military ones do. And you could buy those on Amazon. And I just saw where Corporal's Corner just picked up a bunch of them for 20 of them or so, but I'm pretty sure he bought them off of Amazon. But you can get them for like $20, 20 bottles for $20 on Amazon. All right. Now, this right here, there's a reason why I always bring this. And it's because not only is this help augment the flavor of your foods, but Tabasco sauce, being a vinegar, peppery, the ingredients of this are vinegar and pepper, also kill bacteria and germs. Okay. So when you're eating eggs, if you eat a sunny side up egg, you're risking the fact that you might have bacteria growing or some kind of salmonella or something like that growing in the raw parts of the egg. But if you put some of this Tabasco sauce on there, this does kill the bacteria and stuff on there. All right. Now, that is one of my favorite items to bring with me. Now, another little tip, trick, and hack I got here is right out of the travel section of a Walmart, and 80 cents, you can get you a container right here and fill it up with black pepper like I have in this bottle right here. And we'll see if we can get a little bit of sound going on for the guys listening. All right. So I got some black pepper in one bottle and another travel bottle with salt. And this is great because when you go out there, you never know what you're going to run into. You might want to dehydrate or dry some hides, or what. Just salt them down. But anyway, salt is good. Salt and pepper is like a basic staple. Now, in this other bottle I have, if you're watching the video, it is a spray bottle. And if you're listening, this is a travel spray bottle for like shampoo or conditioner or something like that you can get right from the Walmart. I have filled it up with olive oil. And when you're heading out there, it does not weigh a lot. It doesn't weigh a lot at all, and I don't have my little scale to weigh it, but you can fill that little thing up and you have a squirt bottle with oil. That way, whenever you're cooking with a stainless steel skillet or pot, you can go ahead and oil it down a little bit and then throw your food. Summer sausage has a very bad habit of sticking to stainless steel, so does Spam. So if you just go ahead and put a little bit of oil in the bottom of your pot, throw them in there, you're golden. You are good to go as far as no stick. Now, the last item I want to show here, and this is pretty much a item that I'm not really going to be able to describe over the podcast rather than the actual video so you can see it. But this is a spice container. It looks like one of those camping spice containers where you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 little areas where you can put onion powder, garlic powder, Creole seasoning. It looks like turmeric or salt and pepper in here. And then each container is the lid or the bottom to the next container. So you could put your spices and you could rearrange, you can rearrange them. And you got a lid, and you can unscrew one, screw it to the bottom, and then it gives you access to the next container. So I've done this several times through here. I have salt, pepper. I have chili powder, garlic powder, cumin, onion powder, and Tony Chachere's are, a Creole seasoning that I like to use. But that is a cool little nifty thing. The only problem with this is that it typically does not carry enough seasoning for me. So if I'm trying to season some beans, say a 1 pound bag of beans that I want to season, that's not going to be enough seasoning to season the beans as far as onion powder or garlic powder goes. So, but that's it. That's the little tips and tricks that I said to hang around for. And hopefully you guys have found some use out of that. Well, anyway, that is it for this episode, and I hope you enjoyed it. And go ahead, swing by and pick up a copy of the Primitive Camping and Bushcraft book, and swing by Facebook and go ahead and join the Primitive Camping and Bushcraft podcast. Our actual group, the Primitive Camping and Bushcraft group. And so hopefully you have enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed talking about it. Food is one of my favorite subjects. And this is still the gear section of the book. So we're still moving forward. Our next one is going to be miscellaneous gear. And that one's going to be a relatively longer one. We got all the way, that one's going to be about 4 or 5 pages. So I probably have to break that one down into 2. And then after that, we'll be out of the gear section, and then we'll be moving into shelter. So we got 1 more or 2 more episodes on gear, and then we'll head over to shelter. I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you next time in the next video or the next podcast. God bless you. See you later.